In the shimmering, moonlit, magical fairy tale kingdom of Silverbell, where rivers flowed with liquid starlight and trees whispered ancient secrets, lived a knight known as Sir Henry. He wasn't just any knight, he was the good knight Henry, famous for his bravery, his strength, and his unwavering truthfulness. But beneath his polished armor and cheerful smile, Henry held a funny secret. He worried. Oh, how he worried. He worried about whether the castle drawbridge was perfectly greased, if the royal geese had enough grain, and if his silver bell armor was shiny enough to reflect the morning sun just right. His worrying made his shoulders stiff, his brows furrowed, and sometimes he'd even forget to smile. As a result, his usually booming laugh would shrink to a tiny chuckle, and his usually quick, nimble movements would become slow and heavy, as if he carried all his worries in his armor. His sister, Princess Caroline, was as different from him as a sunbeam from a shadow. She was smart, with eyes that noticed everything, and a heart overflowing with kindness. Caroline loved to spend her afternoons in the castle library, poring over ancient scrolls that told tales of bravery, wisdom, and sometimes even the silliest anxieties. She often observed Henry, her brow gently creased with concern, watching him pace back and forth, muttering to himself about whether the royal guard had polished their swords precisely 6 times or 8. She could see how his worries, like tiny invisible strings, tugged at his usually bright spirit, making him sigh instead of sing, and fret instead of frolic. Their father, the venerable wizard Nick, was a Merlin-like figure, his long beard as white as the snow-capped peaks surrounding Silverbell. He possessed a twinkle in his eye that spoke of ancient knowledge and a playful spirit. Wizard Nick believed that lessons were best learned not from dusty books alone, but from the gentle whispers of the wind, the steady flow of the river, and the challenges life threw their way. He had been watching Henry's worries grow, like weeds in a perfectly manicured garden, and he knew it was time for a special kind of lesson. He saw how the stress tightened Henry's usually jovial face, making his strong knight's hands tremble slightly when he picked up his teacup. And he knew that this brave, strong knight needed to learn to let go. One evening, as the moon cast long, silvery shadows across the castle courtyard, Henry was attempting to meticulously count every single brick in the castle wall, convinced that if he missed just one, the wall might crumble. Aha! 976. Or was it 7? Oh dear, I must start again, he mumbled, his forehead crinkled in concentration. He was so engrossed in his task that he didn't notice his father and sister approaching until Wizard Nick's gentle voice broke through his counting. "My dear Henry," Wizard Nick said, his voice as soft as a moth's wings. "Is something troubling you, my brave knight? Your brow is as furrowed as freshly ploughed earth." Henry jumped, nearly dropping his abacus. "Father, Caroline, I'm just ensuring the structural integrity of the castle, you see. A knight's duty. What if a single brick is out of place? What if the grout isn't quite right? The whole kingdom could be—" He trailed off, waving his hands in a frantic, worrying gesture. Caroline stepped forward, her kind eyes meeting her brother's. "Henry, you're looking quite tired. Are you carrying all the castle's worries on your shoulders again?" She noticed the slight tremor in his hands, confirming her suspicions. Wizard Nick stroked his long beard. "Perhaps, my son, you are carrying more than is necessary. Tell me, what worries weigh upon your heart tonight?" Henry sighed, a sound that seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 tiny pebbles. "Everything, Father. The guard's armor isn't shining as brightly as it should. The royal horses might have sneezed twice instead of once today, which could mean a sniffle. And what if the castle chef forgets precisely how many sprinkles go on the princess's good-night cookies? Such chaos!" Wizard Nick chuckled, a deep, warm sound. "Ah, yes, the great sprinkle mystery." He then grew serious. "Henry, there's a legend of the Whispering Willows, deep in the enchanted glade. They say these ancient trees have branches that flow like tears, and they can help one unburden their spirit. Perhaps it's time for an adventure, not of dragons and daring deeds, but of finding peace." Henry hesitated. An adventure without a clear enemy, without a sword to brandish. "But Father, who will ensure the castle runs smoothly while I'm gone? What if the drawbridge creaks? What if the royal swans decide to waddle the wrong way?" Caroline smiled. "Don't worry, Henry. I'll make sure the swans waddle perfectly, and I'll even count the sprinkles on my cookies very, very carefully."